This will be another video test on the Samsung Galaxy A71, which is my main phone. This is the Prism Crush Black version, but that doesn't really matter. This phone has a 64 megapixel main camera, which can shoot videos at up to 4K by 30 frames per second. It can also shoot videos at 1080p by 30 frames per second and 720p by 30 frames per second. You can't do anything fancy like 60 frames per second, just 30 frames per second. You can't change that, which is annoying. I use 1080p by 30 frames per second in all my videos except for 4K camera tests. I'm using 1080p now, and yeah, it's a really good camera. There's also a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera, which can only shoot in 1080p by, I think, 30 frames per second. It might be lower than that. Definitely can shoot in 1080p. I can't change it, and yeah, so meaning I can't see the frames per second. I can't see if it's 30 frames per second or not, because it says 30 frames per second in the video quality options. But yeah, so it's a really good camera. You also got a 5 megapixel depth sensor and a 2 megapixel macro camera. I hope I got those specs right. I'm pretty sure I did, but if I didn't, that's my fault. You can blame me. As you can see, very good saturation, and the photos also have very good saturation, very good dynamic range. You can set the brightness up and down in the video, and tap to focus, and then that will refresh the brightness. And with that 64 megapixel mode, you can take some really high quality photos. The default mode is 60 megapixels. It says in Google Photos 16 megapixels. I think it's supposed to be 12 megapixels, but I'm not too sure. And with the other cameras, it says 2.3 megapixels, and it has a weird one. Weird. It doesn't say. I think, but at least just 2 megapixels. But I don't know. Sure, some confusing things. Oh well. Yeah, I know a good amount about technology, but I don't know everything about it. So, and yeah, the things that I say make no sense, and that goes for other things apart from technology. So yeah, my videos make no sense. I need to improve my videos. I need to make more sense in them. So what about pricing? Well, for the price, this phone originally was £399. I think it might have been £499. I think it was £399. But there's now been an A72, meaning that this phone is even cheaper. Maybe £2.49 now. Maybe you might even be able to pick it up for £249. Sorry, I keep making this mistake. I filmed a really long video earlier on about this, and I've decided to challenge myself to redo it because I made that mistake. Yeah, as you can see, I've just been using the pause feature, and yes, because you can pause video, and you can also take photos whilst you're recording video, and so yeah, you probably pick this phone up for about 250 quid to 149 quid, maybe even 199 quid. So very, very cheap. And with that, you're getting some really, really, really good specs. Not top of the range, but some nearly top of the range specs. Also has video stabilization, so which won't be able to correct really, really, really big wobbles, but little wobbles it should be just fine with correcting. And I have that on with all of my videos, including this one. So yeah, it's a really good phone. The microphone's also very good. And yeah. And yeah, let's talk about the display. So here's the disappointing part. The display is only a resolution of a not bad resolution, but not really good. Still very good. Of 2400 by 1080. But it's a super AMOLED display, so it is still an OLED display. It's actually AMOLED. It's super AMOLED, maybe even dynamic AMOLED, and but all AMOLEDs are very dynamic, and yeah, it's a very dynamic display. And honestly, the resolution does not look bad at all. It doesn't look as bad as it sounds on paper. It doesn't look as bad as it sounds written down on paper. So yeah. When I first saw that display, I was a bit skeptical, but now, having used it, it's a really good display. I've actually had mine replaced, so I can't say if it's the same resolution. I think it might even be 4K, but I don't know. Yeah. So one thing to keep in mind is there's actually. No, I'm not going into detail of it now. I was saying there's a charging problem, but don't instantly freak out. Just look at more videos about that. You should look at more about that. It's a bit of a software problem, but which I encountered with mine. Is if you install an app, it might stop it from charging half the time. But if it does do that, then you can easily get it repaired for a very low price. But I just don't worry about that. It doesn't do that, and it takes ages to get around to doing it. And yours might not do it. Might have been something different with mine. Might have been a dodgy charging point. Might have been both. I don't know. But don't worry about that. So, do I recommend buying this phone? So if you're thinking of buying this phone, but just want a few more people to recommend buying it for you, do I recommend buying this phone? I could say yes more than 1,000 times. Just to let you know that I totally recommend buying this phone. You can pick one of these up for such a cheap price, and you're getting some really good features and a really good camera. Look at this camera. Look at this. Look how good this is. And you're getting a macro camera. Most top of the range flagships don't have a macro camera. And it's a really big display. It's 6.7 inches. So it's a massive display. And it's a really colourful, vibrant display. It's a very dynamic display. And yeah, it's super AMOLED. And yeah, when you get your phone, it might be on natural mode, and the colours don't look very good there. But all you have to do is go to settings, go to display, and then go to, I think it's called colour mode. You'll find it, but you go onto display. There's not loads of options on display. You'll find it, or even look at a tutorial of how to change it. But go into the something along the lines of colour mode. There's a feature along the lines of colour mode. Click on that, and then select dynamic, and then your phone's colours get way more dynamic. And I stumbled across that when I first bought this phone, and I'm happy I stumbled across that. But yeah, just so you know, and you don't almost end in a situation like I did, thinking, these colours aren't as good as I thought it would be. I don't know if I thought that or not. But yeah, I found the dynamic mode, and yeah, it's a big difference. I totally recommend, if you have this phone, if you're planning to buy one of these phones or already have one of these phones, if you have one of these phones and you haven't already, I totally recommend switching it to dynamic mode, because the colours are way better. I went back to natural mode, and it was like, what is this? And also on HDR, it seems to have a habit of switching back into natural mode, but when you go off the video, it's streaming HDR YouTube video, sorry, and you go off the video, it should go back to dynamic mode automatically. It's a bit weird. So it goes into dynamic and then natural again in the video as well. It's weird, but don't worry. Yeah, just if you're planning to buy this phone, I'd 100% recommend that you go in settings and turn on and change the mode to dynamic. Or if you're already using this phone, or if you've just got it and it's brand new, I also 100% recommend changing the dynamic mode and settings. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please consider subscribing to another dumb everything video. I'll see you later. Bye.